Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi wahda wa salatu wa salamu ala man la nabiyya ba'dah. Dear respected viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another brand new episode of Ask Eman, broadcasted live from the studio of Eman Channel, watched on Sky 757. This is a live interactive Q&A program for those who are watching live now at 8 o'clock in the evening. And inshallah, this is a program that will be broadcasted for an hour. We are also live on our YouTube channel and Facebook page. And later on, if you have missed any of the part or if you'd like to revisit the whole episode, then please feel free to watch us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. And thank you very much to all of those who have just joined with us through our social media platform. At the bottom of the screen, you can see the following contact details, but for your kind convenience, I'll just say, if you'd like to call in directly to the studio, then it's 020-351 50757. Alternatively, should you choose to drop us a WhatsApp text message, then it's 0742 398833. Also, you can email us at askemanchannel.tv, and you can also drop us a direct comment on our social media platform, whether it be our Facebook page or YouTube channel, or leave us a private inbox, and then inshallah, if time allows, we'll try and accommodate all of this question live on air. I'm your host, Qamarul, and joining us virtually, our beloved scholar, who is a regular contributor on this very show, Ask Iman, Fadilatul Shaykh Saeed Al-Qadi. Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. بدر كامرول جزاك الله خير.
Once
May
again,
Allah subhanahu wa
thank you.
ta'ala.
Barakallah
نعم.
feek. Once again, thank you ever so much for giving us your valuable time. Now, I'd like to
A pleasure.
start with the first question. Alhamdulillah, majority of the masajids are open, with some exceptions. There are certain masajid that are still not open. They are still taking it depending on their local guidelines. They're following the local guidelines, or the management committee have their own understanding based on the locality they are based in. Now, we do see on social media, and I'd like to touch this, and we'd like to get an expert opinion. A lot of people are debating on WhatsApp or perhaps even on social media platform to and against, or about some are for opening the masajid, others are no, it should be delayed until we have a strong data, at least by 1 month. Now, in these kind of debates, we do notice that people with limited knowledge, or perhaps who do not have access directly to the management committee or to the mosque or to the running or governing of the mosque, a lot of time we see making silly comments or challenging comments without knowing the full fact. What would your advice be towards the people who are especially very strongly present on social media platform, commenting about every single aspect that they think whatever suits their narrative? How would you advise them?
جزاك الله خير كامرول. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Establishing the prayer in the masjid is one of the sha'air of Islam. And I'm saying sha'air of Islam, it means one of the Islamic identities matter. So as a Muslim, or as Muslims, we pray in jama'ah in the masjid. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, ذَلِكَ وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. And the one who will glorify and respect the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then indeed it is from the piety of the heart. Establishing the salah in the masjid is a sign that Muslims are living there. Muslims are in that locality or that area. And that's why the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, many occasions, he encouraged us to fulfill the prayers and establish the prayers in jama'ah. Now, stopping or freezing this sha'ira and this matter for a reason, or for a valid reason, legitimate reason, is allowed. Now, as long as the health or healthy, or you can say that as long as the health can be preserved, the health of the Muslims can be preserved, and as long as that we're not violating the law of the land, and it is allowing us to gather in with the adhere to certain rules, then we should not delay establishing this right. Therefore, I am encouraging any masjid, as long as they're taking all the precautions and they're keeping the social distance, and they are ensuring that the people are not interacting closely, they shouldn't delay the Salat al-Jama'ah in the masjid. And they can take it gradually. They can start by, for example, Dhuhr and Asr first, and then they can take it to the loud prayers, inshallah ta'ala. Of course, Jum'ah as well is more, more sensitive. They can do it in like patches. They can do it in like 3 times. Okay? But let's remember always that disabling the congregation prayers or the Jama'ah prayers, we only do it for a legitimate reason, for like a reason that is behind our or beyond our control. نعم إن شاء الله تعالى.
Thank you very much for that beautiful nasiha. Now, let's move on a little bit more further. Now, some of us are still not taking it seriously. And how do we say that? Based on the locality where the ethnic minority are very much visible, and we see that lack of face mask or other guidelines that are recommended by the government. And obviously, we know from later on by the end of this month, there will be some mandatory face mask and other issues will be coming in play. Now, how important it is, especially as Muslim, those who are very, very visible. For example, when we have our traditional attire, our beard, our hijab, our niqab, etc., that's easily visible to others that we are Muslim. How important it is for us, especially living in a Western society, to understand the importance of the guidelines recommended by the government, whichever country we are in.
Well, obviously, Jazakallah khair, Qamarul, obviously, whenever there is like a legitimate law or guidelines from the government, the people have to adhere to them, because they won't come without a purpose. They will come to protect the health of the people, protect the life of the people, and therefore we should respect them, and we should always pay attention to them and adhere to these kind of guidelines. As I said before, as long as we're taking precautions, taking all the necessary steps to save the lives of the people and not to cause infections amongst people and not to spread the disease, as long as we are taking all the precautions, we should peacefully establish this kind of rights.
The other aspect that we have realized, we have seen certain videos on social media that are doing some rounds, which is if the management committee is advising certain individual not to attend, or perhaps if the space has been filled up and there is no other space available for the remaining musallis to attend, we sometimes find that the musallis find it very difficult to adhere to the instruction given by the either volunteers or the management committee. Now, as musalli living in the local area, how important it is for us to understand the issue that we have at the moment, which is the pandemic issue, the virus, and to adhere to the instruction of the management committee if they're instructing us whether they can or they can't allow us in the mosque. How should we deal with it?
It's a very good point, a very important point. In this kind of calamity and this kind of sensitive time, we need to cooperate together, and we need to help each other to make our duties easy and manageable. So if you are told that there is no space there, you shouldn't insist to go inside the masjid, because you will break the arrangements, and you break their their rules. So therefore, if you arrive at the masjid and you are told to go back, just go back. Go back and you will have the same reward of praying the masjid, because إنما الأعمال بالنيات. Indeed, the actions are by the intentions. So if your intention is to pray in the masjid and you couldn't make it because it was beyond your control, you will have the full reward. You shouldn't worry at all. Okay? But if you insist to go inside and cause more damage and break the rules of the masjid and endanger your health or expose your health in danger and the health of the others, then it might be sinful. It might be sinful. There is no room here to show your courage and show you are a brave person. No, it's not, there's no place for this kind of behavior. Okay, we have to cooperate together. We have to ensure that we have to as well understand the point of view of other people. If certain messages they are saying that we don't want to open and we want to take more precautions and we want to see and assess how things goes, we need to as well accept that, understand that. If other messages they are of the opinion that they should open, likewise we should as well encourage them and go there and pray there. Okay, but it's not a play. It's not. There's no now clear result or clear data for us whether what we're doing is dangerous or not, is risky or not. We don't know. Allahu Alam. Okay, we might have a second wave of this pandemic. Allahu Alam. Okay, so therefore, nobody should blame the other person. He's a matter of ijtihad. Matter of ijtihad, matter of like people doing their own best to assess the situation and they come up with their own arrangements. We should respect that.
Thank you ever so much. Now, that's a beautiful guideline and nasiha by our beloved, respected Shaykh Saeed Al-Qadi. Now, before we move on further to our Shaykh, just a quick reminder, our telephone number, if you notice, has changed recently. And if you do not have the latest number, you can have a look at the bottom of the screen, or for your kind reference, I'll read out to you. It's 0203 51 50757. I repeat, 0203 5150757. The number has recently changed, so please update the contact detail. And if you would like to ask us any question pertaining to our daily or day-to-day activities in terms of Sharia, inshallah, our beloved Shaykh Saeed Al-Qadi will address your questions and answer in light of the Quran and Sunnah. Now, Shaykh, before I move on to our question, another thing I have to cover from the aspect of the musallis, that sometimes they raise concern that the management committee or the volunteers, the way they address the congregations or the local musallis is maybe perhaps slightly harsh, the choice of words might not be correct, or as if someone may even suggest they are trying to imply power. Now, how important it is for members of the management committee or the volunteers that are associated with various masajid to have that kind of etiquette to convey the message in a nice, constructive and a humble manner, rather than coming across as forceful.
Subhanallah, Allah Ta'ala in the Quran said, وَقُلْ لِعِبَادِي يَقُولُ الَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ يَنزَغُ بَيْنَهُم إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ كَانَ لِلْإِنسَانِ عَدُوًّا مُبِينًا. Tell my slave to say that which is good, to pick up or to pick the words that are good, to select the words that are good, the words that are nice. But Allah Ta'ala didn't say the nice words. Allah Ta'ala said أحسن. أحسن means it is صيغة تفضيل, which means you choose the best words. Okay, the word that is better. So you can tell them, would you please wait here? And you can say, please wait here. And you can say, wait here. Use the best word. My brother, would you please wait here? التي أحسن. So you don't let them feel that you are aggressive or you are commanding them. Okay, because shaitan will come there. إن الشيطان ينزغ بينهم. Shaitan will try to cause frictions amongst them. إن الشيطان كان للإنسان عدوا مبينا. Indeed, shaitan was a clear and open enemy for a man. طيب. So my advice to the brothers and sisters who are managing masajid, they should be selective in terms of choosing words, selective in speaking to their congregation. And you should understand that people are eager to come to the masjid and are eager to pray in jama'ah. So the way how they address them has to be very polite, very sensitive, and as well very respectful. Okay, we are not there to, we're not serving the masjid as we are serving our own homes or our own properties. It is the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember, the person who's coming to the house of Allah ta'ala is coming not to your own house. so that you can dictate him or you can address him harshly. He's coming to pray in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you are a person who is handling the affair of the house, so you have to do it in a very peaceful manner, very nice way, very beautiful words, okay, so that people will not feel intimidated يعني.
Jazakallah khair, excellent nasiha. Now let's move on to our first question through our WhatsApp, and that is, if one vomits or if vomit comes into the tip of your mouth, but you accidentally swallow it during the prayer, does your wudu or salah become invalid? Shaykh.
It came to the beginning of your mouth, yeah? Throat.
Yes, at the tip of your mouth.
Okay, but and then you swallow it يعني accidentally, yeah? Accidentally?
The accidentally, yes, that's the word has been given, accidentally. So basically, if it comes at the tip of the mouth and accidentally swallows in while in the state of salah.
It is fine. That will not break your salah.
Okay, that's clear. So basically the salah is valid and it will be accepted, inshallah.
It is valid and it won't affect your salah.
Okay. Now, counter question. If it was outside salah, for example, someone is sitting in the masjid and before the fard salah commences or before the person starts his fard salah or sunnah, whatever it is, and he notices that. Now, does it mean that they have to go back and perform the wudu, or is it still valid?
What did you say again?
If an individual is not in the salah, so basically sitting down before starts offering salah. Now, in that context, does one need to do wudu, or is it enough for them to continue because it hasn't come out of the mouth?
No, there is no need for wudu at all, no. No need for wudu at all. They can continue the salah.
Okay, khalas. Thank you ever so much. Next question. What is the awra of a man in front of his mahram?
The awra of the man in front
correct.
of mahram woman, you mean?
Basically, what is the requirement? So if what is the awra of the man? So if he is in front of his mahram, what is the requirement in terms of his awra? What should he wear? What length, etc.?
Okay. Understood you now. We cannot call the woman as a mahram. Okay, he is a mahram for her. Okay, but she is not mahram for him. That's why I just want to clarify. So he's speaking that a man is in front of his sister or his mother. Okay, that he is a mahram for her. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Then his awra is from the surra until the knee. The surra until the knee. Okay, from the surra until the knee. Is this clear?
It's clear. It's clear. Is there any difference between mahram and non-mahram in terms of the awra of a man?
No, when you say mahram, you mean the mahram. Okay, there's an issue here, Qamarul, in terms of saying mahram to the woman. Woman cannot be mahram.
Okay.
The mahram is always man.
Okay.
The mahram is always man. Okay. So, because when you say mahram of women, that would be a bit confusing.
Okay.
Because a man has his wife, and then he can, of course, he can. There's no limits in terms of what she can see from him. But of any other family that he is mahram for, okay, then they can see from his surah until knee.
Okay, it's clear. Thank you ever so much. Now, before I move on to another question, we've got a caller on the line. Let's see who it is. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. We can hear you. You're live on Ask Eman.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
MashaAllah, very young caller. What's your question?
My question is that in the Quran, I mean, that I saw in one of the videos in social media, one sheikh, he said that there's one dua if someone is overpowered. In Surah Qamarul, verse 10, it says, he said that we could say, فَدَعَا Rabbi inni maghlubun fantasir. But in the Quran, it says فدعا ربه أني مغلوب فانتصر. So which way should I say it? Should I say regarding from the Quran verse, or should I say like Rabbi and Inni?
Okay,
So,
stay on the line. Let's double check if the question is clear to the Sheikh. Sheikh, did you hear the question? We're just having a technical difficulty. Just bear with us, inshallah. The young caller, what's your name again? It's Maryam?
yes, it's Maryam.
Yeah. MashaAllah, I understand you have sought your parents' permission before you called into the show.
Yes.
Thank you ever so much. Stay on the line. Let's see if we can get Sheikh back on the line. Sheikh, are you there with us? We're just waiting for it. And just to clarify, Maryam, when you say social media, I understand that you have taken your parents' permission to watch those videos before you do anything. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sheikh, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, great. Sorry, apology for the technical difficulty.
No,
But
fine.
great, you're back. So did you hear the question?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Yes,
I had a question.
if you can please kindly answer.
Well, he mentioned the verse in which Allah Ta'ala said, قال فدعا ربه أني مغلوب فانتصر.
That's correct.
This is the dua of Nuh alayhi salam.
Yes.
He said, فدعا ربه أني مغلوب فانتصر. Okay, so we want to make a dua. You can say إني مغلوب فانتصر. It's fine. Okay.
So can we say ربي إني مغلوب فانتصر?
It's all fine. Okay, but
Correct.
the verse did not say ربي إني مغلوب فانتصر. The verse says فدعا ربه. He called his Lord أني مغلوب فانتصر. That I am يعني overpowered, so Allah Ta'ala make me victorious.
Great. Thank you ever so much for that clarification. I hope it's clear to you, Maryam. And if you've got, would you like to add something to it, Maryam? Okay. Thank you ever so much.
I want something, brother.
Yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead, Sheikh.
Yes, I think the sister was asking about the vomiting during Salah.
Okay.
Whether it will break the wudu or not. There is one opinion from the Ahnaf, the Hanafi school, that that vomiting will break the wudu. Abu Hanifa rahimahullah ta'ala, he has that opinion. Okay, and likewise some of the narration of Ahmad bin Hanbal, he has same opinion, but they are both saying that it has to be a big amount of vomiting. Okay, a big amount of vomiting. It cannot be like a small amount, something that comes to the mouth and then you eat it again. No, it has to be a big amount and they call it in the Arabic, they call it fahish, al-qi'u al-fahish, the vomiting that is very disturbing. Okay, and it's big amount. Okay, but the right opinion is the opinion of Shafi'iyah. Shafi'iyah, they said there is no evidence in this matter, no evidence at all, no hadith. Okay, about that the qi will break the wudu. Okay.
Thank you ever so much. For those who have just joined in, Sheikh was answering another question, and that was prior to the young caller Maryam, and it was about a vomit and invalidation of salah. So Sheikh just clarified it again. So thank you ever so much for clarifying that, Sheikh. And Maryam, thank you ever so much for asking such an important question. And inshallah, that's our nasiha to everyone, that with our parents' permission, if we watch on the social media and if we take their permission to do whatever we need to do in our life, inshallah, there will be barakah. Now, moving on to our next caller before we move on to the WhatsApp text messages. Let's see who's on the line. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much for your phone call. I understand you're calling all the way from Turkey. Is that correct?
Yeah, but I'm originally from Germany. I came here for vacation.
Okay, no problem. Jazakallah khair. Thank you ever so much all the way. What's your question?
I have two questions. My first question is, why does Allah says in the Quran, we sent you a pawn, or we gave you something? That's my first question. And my second question is, why don't we say bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim before Surah Al-Tawbah? Barakallahu fikum.
Okay, thank you ever so much. Jazakallah khair for such an important question. Sheikh, we'll have to pause that. Inshallah, you've heard those two questions. I'll repeat it back to you when we come back from our break. Now, I think if we can answer in short, I think we've got enough time to answer it in short. Sheikh, are you there? The first question, why does Allah says we in the glorious Quran? In short.
Yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says we in the Quran, and we in the Quran doesn't mean counting the number. It means that Allah ta'ala is magnifying himself. We call it we for ta'zeem, to magnify Allah ta'ala and to glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like the king would say, we the king, and he's one person, isn't it? Okay? So Allah ta'ala, when he says we, doesn't mean that it's not the we of the number, it's the we of the majesty and we of loftiness and the we of glorifying and magnifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We call it in the Arabic language, we at-ta'zeem, and the king in the Arabic language can say, we nahnu al-malik, meaning we the king, and he's one person. So it's not for the number at all. Likewise, Allah ta'ala in the Quran said, تجري بأعيننا, that the ship of Nuh alayhi salam, it goes under our eyes. Allah ta'ala doesn't have eyes. Okay? أولم يروا مما أن خلقنا له مما عملت أيدينا أنعام. أيدينا, Allah doesn't have hands.
Okay.
Many hands.
Sheikh,
Okay?
Sheikh,
So this
thank
kind
you
of,
ever so much. We'll come back to the detail of it, inshallah. It's just time for a short break. Do stay tuned with us. There's another question, inshallah, we'll pose after the break. You're watching Ask Eman live on Eman Channel. Thank you very much. Welcome back to Ask Eman, broadcasted live from the studio of Eman Channel, watched on Sky 757. It's a live interactive Q&A program where you ask questions and our respected guest in the show answers the question in accordance to the Quran and Sunnah. Your host for today is Qamarul Islam, and joining me today virtually, our beloved respected scholar, Shaykh Saeed Al-Qadi. Before we went on to the break, there was a caller all the way from Turkey, German origin, and he asked us two questions, in fact, a young caller, and we were answering the first question, which was, why does Allah address himself as we in the glorious Quran? And Shaykh did answer, but towards the end, there were certain other bits that we'd like our audience who have just joined in to understand the question in whole context. So Shaykh Saeed Al-Qadi, if you can summarize the answer again, why does Allah addresses himself as we in the glorious Quran?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Jazakallah khair, Qamarul. Allah Ta'ala, when he used the word we, it doesn't denote to the number that Allah Ta'ala is more than one person. It denotes to his majesty, it denotes to his power, it denotes to his royalty subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah Ta'ala is the king of the kings. And now we see that presidents or kings in this world now, they call themselves we, they say we the president, I want to order the following. And he is a man, subhanAllah, he's a human being. So in the Quran, Allah Ta'ala will use the word we, and in the Arabic language, it is well known to use this term we. It is nahnu in Arabic, and you mean yourself, and you are one person. So you will find a king, that will say in his statement, nahnu al-malik fulan amarna bikadha. We, the king so and so, we ordered the following. Okay? And he's one person. So it is obvious in the Arabic language that this is not for counting. It is just to reflect his power subhanahu wa ta'ala, and his attributes. So the kings normally speak with plural. Okay, so that's fine. It's well known way in the Arabic language. I think as well in English as well.
Thank you ever so much for clarifying. And for our audiences as well, we see in the UK when our Queen addresses the nation, she addresses herself as we. It's just royal plural, as Shaykh has mentioned, or majestic plural. It's just the grammar. Now, thank you ever so much for clarifying. Second question, why there is no Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in the beginning of Surah At-Tawbah?
Many of the companions were asked about this. Why there's no Bismillah ar-Rahim between Surah At-Tawbah. And some of them said because we were ordered that we should not put Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim between Al-Anfal and Surah At-Tawbah. We were ordered like this. Okay? So it is a clear order from the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam not to put Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim at the beginning of Surah At-Tawbah. And some of the ulama are of the opinion that Al-Anfal is part of At-Tawbah because there is no Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim between them. Okay? But the right opinion is that there is no Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in that chapter, and that chapter is a separate chapter, totally, the chapter of Tawbah. And the reason why there is no Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim because the chapter begins with disowning any relationship between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to the disbelievers or with the disbelievers. That's why Allah ta'ala did not start with this beautiful name, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, the most merciful and the most beneficent subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah did not start the chapter with it because it will not look like right that Allah Ta'ala is beginning with these great names, the most merciful, and then he speaks about disowning in relationship with the disbelievers. So they call it in the Arabic language al-munasaba. There is no munasaba here. Okay, the chapter is speaking about disowning the disbelievers, speaking about their punishment, speaking about their the chapter is talking about the hypocrites and talking about their behavior and unraveling all of their schemes and their plans and their attitudes and their behavior. So this verse, or this, statement, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, was not suitable to be placed there. Okay.
Jazakallah khair for that. Now, another additional question that I would have, many would ask, what if someone stops in the middle of Surah At-Tawbah and starts reading again the following day? Should they recite Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim then, or just continue with the ta'awuz?
Normally, when you want to start reciting any chapter of the Quran, if you are in the middle of the chapter, you should just only say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. You don't say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allah Ta'ala in the Quran said, فَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنَ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. If you want to recite the Quran, then say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Seek refuge by Allah from الشيطان الرجيم. Allah didn't say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So if you want to read the Quran in general, you say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, then you recite it. But if you will begin any chapter, then because you are beginning the chapter, you say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Thank you very much for... Yes, Shaykh, would you like to add anything?
That's the main difference, basically.
Jazakallah
so
khair.
If you say Rahman Rahim, for example, you say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and then you say فلينظر الإنسان إلى طعامه. This is wrong. Totally wrong. You cannot say Rahman Rahim and you start in the half of the chapter or in the middle of the chapter.
Thank you ever so much for that clear clarification. And I would like to thank our two young callers back to back have called in, especially the last caller all the way from Turkey. And what a great example our Ummah has. Alhamdulillah, when we see our younger generation through the guidance of their parents, they're asking such an important question. They are contemplating about the Islamic text, about the Quran, and asking questions live on air. It does require courage to ask live on air. I really am thankful to the parents who are guiding them and to the younger audience as well. With the permission of their parents, they are calling into the studio and asking such an important question. May Allah make them the brand ambassadors of Islam, inshallah, in the future. Now, moving on swiftly to our next question. And before I move on to the next question, just to remind our viewers, our telephone number has changed. So if you'd like to call in directly to the studio, then please kindly note the new telephone number appearing at the bottom of your TV screen. For your kind reference, it's 020351507757. Inshallah, we're looking forward to speaking to you soon. Now, Shaykh, moving on to our next question, and that is from our YouTube channel. Due to the lateness of Aisha Salah, which is best? Combine Maghrib and Isha Salah, or wake up and pray Isha before Fajr prayer time? Is that clear to you, Shaykh?
Clear, very clear. The second opinion, it is not valid at all. Okay, to delay the Isha prayer until before Fajr is a very weak opinion. A very weak opinion. Okay, the right opinion is that Salat al-Isha, its time finishes at the mid of the night. Okay, so if you're going to pray Isha before Fajr, it is too late. It's too late, okay? So if you are unable to wait until Isha time comes, and you want to pray Isha with early, you can do that with Maghrib, inshallah ta'ala, especially if the time of Maghrib is too late, okay? You can combine Maghrib and Isha, but you cannot delay the Isha beyond the mid of the night. Why? Allah Ta'ala in the Quran said, أقم الصلاة لدلوك الشمس إلى غسق الليل. Establish the prayer from the movement of the sun, from the mid of the sky, that called duluk, which means the Dhuhr prayer. أقم الصلاة لدلوك الشمس إلى غسق الليل. غسق الليل in the Arabic language means, غسق, it means the darkest time of the night. غسق. Okay? So darkest time of the night. And the darkest time of the night is in the mid of the night. Okay? So Allah Ta'ala is telling us that the time of prayers between the Dhuhr and the mid of the night, all the prayers are there. Okay? There's one prayer that is missing. So Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the same chapter, in the same verse, saying, أقم الصلاة لدلوك الشمس إلى غسق الليل. Okay, this is the time of the prayers. وقرآن الفجر. إن قرآن الفجر كان مشهودا. And also the Fajr prayer. Okay, so the time of the Isha is until the mid of the night. Okay, even the hadith of Rasulullah said that I would delay the Isha. He didn't. He mentioned that he would delay it until the mid of the night, not beyond that. Okay. So therefore, if you want to combine, you can combine Maghrib and Isha. Remember, the latest time for Isha is the mid of the night. There's a hadith that says that the end of the time of each salah is the beginning of the salah that is after it. But this is not. It's not. It is not right. First of all, it's not the. There's no like authentic hadith that supports that. Okay. Second thing, and this ruling cannot be applied on all salat. For example, the salat of al-Fajr, its time finishes by the sunrise. That's it. Not until the Dhuhr time. Okay, but we can apply it only between Dhuhr and Asr and Maghrib. Those three prayers.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh, for just a beautiful answer. Moving on swiftly to our next question, and that is, if I start Arabic classes from internet, I will have a male teacher. Do I need to lower my gaze?
If you are a female, yes. Because Allah Ta'ala in the Quran advised both male and female to lower the gaze. وَقُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنَاتِ يَغْضَضْنَ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِنَّ, and tell the believing women to lower the gaze. Okay? So likewise, as the man is commanded to lower his gaze, likewise sisters are commanded to lower their gaze.
That's an important question, but I'd like to a little bit dwell in that question, especially if someone, what's your opinion? If is it recommended that you look within your locality if there are good qualified female teachers around before obtaining the online teacher? What would your best option be? And especially looking into female teachers, alhamdulillah, there are some Muslimat shuyukh that are there. So what would your recommendation be? Just go on internet straight away, or looking into the local area that we live in to get a best connection of a teacher?
Teaching requires a lot of interaction. Teaching requires a lot of different activities. It's not only about listening to the lesson and then learning the language. It's not as simple as that. It requires a lot of interactions, a lot of activities, a lot of various and different variety of activities, so people can learn the language. So therefore, it's not practical to have a male teacher. Okay. However, it's allowed. It's allowed. It's allowed between the two gender to teach each other, as long as they are preserving to the guidelines of the Deen of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. But what is better? It is better to have the same gender, so you can have as well your own as well. You feel at least comfortable in asking any question, comfortable in cracking joke, comfortable in talking outside subject, comfortable about many things. But if you speak to the opposite gender, you have to adhere to the guidelines of Islam, which is sometimes restrictive. Okay? But Aisha radiallahu anha used to teach the men, the companions. And likewise, Taymiyyah the grandmother of Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, she used to be a scholar and she used to teach as well the Muslims. So there is no issue here as a Muslimah to teach men or as a man to teach women as long as they are preserving to the guidelines of the deen. Guidelines of the deen means that you lower the gaze, you don't stare at them, and you as well be respectful in terms of what you say, and you understand your limits.
Jazakallah khair. And just a word of advice, especially it's a question about online teaching. Before we get into our online teachers, we have to be careful and we have to also make sure that are they qualified? Do they have a strong background? Are they well known within the community, within the society? Where did they acquire their qualification? What school did they go to, etc., etc.? It's just because so that later on we should not regret on our findings. And it's very, very important, especially given the situation we are in today. Name and fame doesn't necessarily mean someone would be a qualified scholar in a particular field or in a particular subject. So that's why always before we embark on these kind of journeys, in any kind of educational journey, what do we do when it comes to the secular education? We look for the best teacher, we look for the best institution, and then acquire the knowledge accordingly. Similarly with Islam, we have to also do our research. We have to also do whatever we can do from from the best that we can do, and make sure that we have got the sufficient knowledge about the individual before we embark onto the journey. Yes, there is no harm. There are good qualified teachers out there. It's just so that we have to be careful who we take and select as our teacher. Moving on, Shaykh, to our next question. But before that, let's take another caller. Let's see who's on the line. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you very much. Another young caller. What's your question?
My question is, I want to know why third-party insurance is okay and full insurance is not okay.
Okay, I slightly have to stop you there. Apology for that. I couldn't hear you clearly. If you can repeat your question slightly loudly, please.
I want to know why third-party insurance is okay and full insurance is not okay.
Okay, stay on the line. Shaykh, did you hear the question?
I think he's asking about the car insurance, why it's allowed.
Yes,
why
that's
the
correct.
insurance is not allowed, yeah?
Yes.
Well, generally, insurance in Islam, insurance, what you call it, the insurance is of many types. There is a commission for insurance, which is the car insurance or the life insurance. And there is another type of insurance, which is called the community insurance. But this type of insurance is not available everywhere. Insurance are of too many types. Okay, the only allowed one of them is the community insurance. Community insurance means everyone will contribute, and everyone at the end, if anyone is afflicted with anything, then that person will be helped, and the remaining money will return back to the payers equally. Okay, this kind of insurance is fine, and the regulators will get their percentage. That's all. But what's happening now is that the insurance companies collecting money and treating those who are afflicted, and the rest of the money are placed in their pockets. That's not allowed. Why it's not allowed in Sharia? Because of the main reason that is the al-gharar. Gharar means there is no clarity in terms of the good or the service. Okay, it is always linked with if something happened to you. So for anything to be lawful in Islam, or any transaction to be lawful in Islam, we have to have a clear identification to three matters, and that is the buyer, the seller, and the good. The buyer is known, seller is known, but the good is not known. That's why it is not allowed in Islam. Now we come to the scenario in which we are living in the West. In the West, insuring your car is a must, is a law. So we cannot break the law. That's why it is allowed, because it is a law and you cannot break the law. Okay, so you'll have to do it because you will have to follow the law. Okay, of the land. And that's why you are, in this case, you are exempted. You are not sinful because you're not doing it because you want to do it. You're doing it because it's the law of the land and you have to adhere to the law of the land. Okay? Full insurance. Okay, he's talking about full insurance and talking about car insurance. I think you mean full insurance in the car itself, yeah? Okay, so the people said, the ulama said, okay, as long as you are meeting the minimum requirement, you shouldn't go to the higher requirements. But in general, if you are doing the insurance, the full insurance or the third party insurance, all of them are okay because you are compelled to do them, and that if you don't as well do the full insurance, you might as well not cover yourself fully. So you can be on the safe side and do the full insurance. Okay,
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you ever so much, Shaykh, for that beautiful answer. And also, with regards to car insurance, because you've touched upon the car insurance, if you pay in full upfront the whole amount, then there is no interest involved there. But do please check your clauses and conditions, because I understand that in terms of monthly, maybe there might be an element of concern there. However, as Shaykh has mentioned, it's allowed. And if you still have any concerns, then please get in touch on a one-to-one basis with a scholar who understands the aspect of finance and insurance. And inshallah, they will advise you more accordingly. And thank you to all those young callers who have called in with their parents' advice and guidelines and guidance to the show. Now, Shaykh, we are coming towards the end of the program. My last question to you on WhatsApp will be, if you pass the 3 questions in the grave and you are told to rest till Qiyamah, what is the purpose of Hisab on the day of judgment, on Qiyamah? If you made it, which means if you've already passed in your grave, will we still experience the difficulties in Sirat, Qantara, etc.?
Jazakallah khair. Going through the grave and answering the 3 questions is a great sign that you will be, inshallah ta'ala, saved on the day of judgment. Okay? But it's not like a certificate for you that you are saved. It is, you will stay in the grave and you won't stay long there. As in the hadith, كنومة عروس. So you will stay there as you are, you know, the newly married person, when he sleeps that night, it's just like that night. Okay, the night of that you spend when you are newly married. Okay, it's very quick. We wake up, that's the day of judgment. Now, on day of judgment, you might encounter some hardship and some difficulties, and this is just to erase all of your sins, erase your wrongdoing. Okay, so you enter Jannah, alhamdulillah ta'ala, and you have nothing on your back. That's the reason why you will go through this kind of hardship on the day of judgment. Okay, but the answering the questions, it's a sign for you that you are, inshallah ta'ala, by the grace of Allah ta'ala, saved. Some people will not go through the horror of the day of judgment. Some people will not go through the horror of the day of judgment. Allah ta'ala, the Quran said, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ سَبَقَتْ لَهُم مِّنَّ الْحُسْنَى أُولَٰئِكَ عَنْهَا مُبْعَدُونَ. There are certain people who will not even encounter this kind of hardship or this kind of horror or this kind of difficult moments. Okay, Allah Ta'ala said, those whom Allah Ta'ala has given the blessings, they will be certainly far away from the calamities of the day of judgment. So answering the questions is a good sign. Okay, but you might again encounter certain challenges and certain difficulties and certain hardship. So Allah Ta'ala will erase all of his sins. Even the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that everyone will, by the nafkha of al-sur, everyone will faint. Everyone will pass out. Okay? And they ask him, even you said, even me. Even him, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he will pass out. And then Allah Ta'ala will raise us again to life. And then people will, the fire will come near the people. As Allah Ta'ala in the Quran said, كلا لو تعلمون علم اليقين, if you know the knowledge of certainty, لترون الجحيم, you shall see the fire. ثم لترونها عين اليقين, then you will see it by the eye of certainty. And then everyone will say, نفسي نفسي, even the prophets, they will say, oh Allah Ta'ala, myself, myself. Except the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam will say, my nation, my nation. Okay, so the reason why we'll go through this is Allah's promise. Allah promised us to go through this scene so that we can appreciate Allah's reward in the day of judgment, Allah's reward in Jannah, when you go through the hardship of the day of judgment.
Thank you ever so much. And now, just a final thought on that. You mentioned about Allah will forgive all of the sins. Now, we know there is two rights, right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and right of human beings. So if someone has violated the right of human being, what your advice would be?
Jazakallah khair. May Allah bless you, Qamarul. Very, very good point here, Jazakallah khair. As well, if you have any right for any person, you might clear it there before you enter Jannah. Okay? If you have a right, so Allah Ta'ala will raise sins that you did towards people through this kind of horror that you will experience. And likewise, if you have any issue with any Muslim, once you pass the Sirat, there is a qantara. There is another small bridge between the fire and Jannah. In that qantara, you will stay there until you forgive each other. In Sahih Muslim, Rasulullah said that there is a qantara before Jannah. The believers will wait there until they forgive each other. Okay, so you won't enter Jannah and you have in your heart anything. Allah Ta'ala in the Quran said, وَنَزَعْنَا مَا فِي صُدُورِهِم مِّن غِلٍّ. Allah Ta'ala will remove any hatred from your heart against one another. تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهِمُ الْأَنْهَارِ. The rivers are flowing beneath them. This is before they enter Jannah. So you will go through these kind of horror so you can erase the sins that you did towards people, or if there's any right between you and people, you can rectify it by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Thank you ever so much, Shaykh, for your valuable time and your beautiful nasiha. That's all what we have time for us. And inshallah, Shaykh, we will see you once again, in our next upcoming episode. My dear viewers, before we end the show, in the beginning, we mentioned about the management committee and the massages are opening, some are still closed. What we need to do, we have to all bear patience. We have to all understand the importance and the current calamity we are in. And we have to nicely follow the guidelines given to us by the management committee of the masjid. And to the masjid committee members, please, if we can also address our congregation with nice and humble words, inshallah, that will create a more harmonious relationship, inshallah, within the local community. That's all what we have time for. Our telephone number has changed, so please do take a note. And inshallah, again tomorrow you can join us back on Ask Eman live at 8 o'clock. That's all from us. Until then, subhanakallahumma wa hamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum.